Hello and welcome back to Seaside Garage. In this video I'll be doing an oil change, but I won't be showing much of that. But I want to check the lower front engine mount because it's probably shot in this one. I got a used one that would probably be controversial to you guys. But the owner of this car likes the original Saab parts and they are apparently not possible to really get anymore. You can get aftermarket ones, but he would like to get to fit this if this one is bad. Firstly, I want to raise the car up into the air and remove the wheel over here. There is a couple of engine mounts on the Saab 9000. There is a steady bar up top with a couple of bushing in it. And there is a normal bushing kind of mount on the gearbox. And then there is two hydraulic mounts on the engine itself. And they do tend to fail. Luckily, I'm only going to do the front one because the rear one is harder to do. It's definitely possible to do yourself also, but the front one is definitely the easiest one. I'm not even sure that I'm going to change it. I'm just going to inspect it, but I'm going to take it out to do so and then probably change it. I need this plastic thing out of here to get access. There we go. This is the engine mount in question. Oh, it's a bit oily in here also. I think it would be wise to check the valve cover gasket, maybe even the chain tensioner gasket, but I think it's coming up higher. But that's not the task for today. But it reminds me that I need to drain the oil, so I'm just going to start the drain process while the engine is still hot. And while the engine oil is draining, I'm going to give a top tip, because it's definitely a good idea to let it drain over time. So doing something else meanwhile will save you time in a garage, of course. But to be honest, it's a good idea to keep in mind that you're changing the oil. I've done it once, started up an engine without any oil in it. Luckily not for long, because I remembered it quite quickly. But the thing is, while doing all this stuff, I could get sidetracked and then suddenly, I have now put on the cam bell or something else. I better check if the engine starts and then forget about the fact that the oil is actually draining at the moment. So a tip for you guys is to remove the key and put it on a note saying that the oil needs to go in, or fit the key to the new oil can. That way it's quite hard to forget that I need to add some oil. And while the oil is pretty much drained and the noise is not that bad now, I can continue the work. Because I know a lot of you guys are going to the toilet if it's leaking too loudly in the background. So let's take a better look at that engine mount. Now I don't think it has let go completely, but it definitely feels quite loose. I'm going to remove it completely to better inspect it and see if this spare one that I got is better. The other engine mount is located in there, by the way. It's easier to access from underneath, but this video will only be about this one. I'm going to undo that bolt up there and then lift up the engine slightly. There we go. Now I of course also need to undo the engine mount itself. It's right there. I'm just going to undo them all now, even though the engine is not supported because it's resting on the subframe, so it's not going to go anywhere. I'm gonna lift up the engine from underneath using my jack. Of course, I'm using something soft to not damage the engine. The jack is just supporting the weight of the engine now. And I seem to remember that I have to remove this before I can go further, otherwise I will just be lifting the car pretty much. So just want to undo this, take out that nut. The bushings up here are also a bit worn, but the owner wants to do those himself. So I'm not going to touch them, other than what I'm doing right now. With this one out, I think I can lift up the engine a little bit. An engine hoist in this eye would also be clever, but I have a bit of a clearance issue to do that. I do have a tool that I can put up on here if needed. So I'm just going to try to see if I can lift it just a little bit more to get it to clear down there. I think it actually still is just lifting the car because it's slanted forward. Yeah, it is. So I'm going to use my tool instead of the jack. It's definitely possible to use the jack, but oh shit. It's definitely possible to use the jack, but this is way more controlled. So I'm going to place this on top of the lifting point. Yes, these are rubber insulated. Let's say somewhere around here would be. Maybe up here, actually. There we go, the mount is out. Honestly, I don't see much difference between the used one and the old one. So I don't think this will make any difference, but I'm putting it in anyway. And you can use this video as a how to do this stuff. But I would probably replace it with a new one. And I'm not even sure it needs replacing, this one actually. But it's difficult to see if it's split in the rubber without taking it out at least. I think you probably could do that, but yeah. Actually the old one sits a little lower, and also the rubber on this part is gone, so if it goes to the extremes it's probably quite noisy. So maybe it's not a bad swap. We'll see if the sound gets a little better in the car. There we go. Like this, and put in the nuts. Yep. So I can put the nut back in. So there we go. I'm just gonna see how much it wiggles comparing it to the old one. It is honestly a lot more tight, so I actually think it was a good investment to put this in, even though it's used. The old one was more loose. So yeah, you could argue if it makes sense to put a used part in here. You could argue that if it was even necessary. I won't know for sure before I drive it, but this is how to change it anyway. So I hope you can use that for something. You could definitely use a jack instead of my fancy thing up there. So it's doable using very simple tools to change this one, and the same can be said by about the rear one, but the rear one is a lot more complicated to get to and replace than this. This is a lot easier. So this is it. The oil has been changed. I remembered, and the new engine mount is in. This will be all for the Saab 9000. What I'm going to do now is to go out and drive and do the test drive video that you probably already saw because it's already out. So this is all for the Saab 9000. I don't think we're going to see this one anymore on the channel. Maybe in the future, who knows, but it's going back to the owner who actually daily drives this car. I really like that. I really like that. This is a Saab 9000 Aero. It's the coolest version of the Saab 9000, and still he's using it daily, even now when the winter is here. And I really like that because, yeah, it would last a lot longer if you packed it away and didn't use it. You and I would probably also live a little longer if we never did anything, but it doesn't sound like a lot of fun to me, to be honest, so I really like this. That's cool. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.